Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Swami Jyotirmayananda Society, our journey to self realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings and to enjoy daily satsang. We are currently exploring the book Advice to Students, authored by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. We are on the topic of bringing discipline in the family. A family that nurtures the physical, mental, and spiritual health of its members is indeed a great blessing. Without the peace and security that is nurtured by a healthy family life, it is difficult to unfold the deeper qualities of the soul. If you live without hope, harmony, or adaptability at home, you grow up to be a discontented and distracted person. As such, there is very little good that you can do for yourself or for society. The concept of an ideal family, which we have been describing in these pages, is important not only for Hindus but for all human beings everywhere in the world. It is the foundation for developing the inner peace and fulfillment that gives meaning to life. May God bless you with a family that encourages you to live with discipline, with love, and with respect for all of creation. And as you mature, may you learn to serve the whole world as your family and through loving service attain God realization. So let's move on to the new topic of facing the challenges of today's world. And one of the taboos or difficult to talk subject but is important is the illusion of sexual freedom, particularly in today's society where it is becoming very prevalent and being taken for granted. So let's explore this topic. There is a great misconception in today's world. Members of the modern generation feel that they're more culturally advanced than people who have come before them because the younger generation they enjoy more sexual freedom than their forefathers did. They consider this so-called freedom as a mark of progress, as something highly desirable. But the truth is actually quite different. Unbridled passion and uncontrolled sexuality existed in the past also, just as it does now. But in olden times, it was looked down upon by the society. It was viewed as a taint of personality which an individual should not be proud of. An individual who was a prey to weakness was advised to seek the guidance of the wise. In the past, weaknesses in character were not adored or sanctioned. But today, people have started worshipping their lower selves. They're proud of their sexual freedom. They're not ashamed of living lives of slavery to the senses. Young people in this materialistic society are led by the communications media, by social apps, and all this freely available information, and they are misguided as a result of many of their elders who believe and that fun is what life is all about. So that is the concept which is becoming more prevalent but is clearly not helpful. These this younger generation, they are not aware of the fact that by their so-called sexual freedom they are degrading themselves physically, psychologically, and morally, and in addition they are contributing to the degradation of the society overall. Any promiscuity and frivolous sex involvement leads to a debilitated mind, ill health, and a guilty conscience also. Anyone, regardless of age or stage of life, who is eager to attain self realization must not permit himself to be tempted by the lures of sex. If he submits himself to gross pleasures with the notion that later he will overcome them, he is terribly wrong. He becomes like a person who has placed his feet in quicksand. No matter how much he tries to free himself, he continues to sink deeper and deeper into illusions. Thus, grihasthas or householders and their children must deeply understand that in order to be truly successful, happy, and fulfilled in life, they must reverence the human body and recognize the profound nature of the sex relationship. And ultimately, as they mature, their minds must eventually outgrow or outstep the illusion of sex altogether. The mind that does not evolve beyond illusions of pleasure, and certainly sex pleasure is one of the most powerful of these illusions, carries those illusions into old age and even beyond. Then they become very hard to overcome. Thus, you see many people who are in their 70s and 80s and who are still imprisoned by those illusions. And the spirit moves from one body to another. Incarnating after incarnation continues and pursuing their unfulfilled desires. A pleasure loving person who runs into one mate to another till he is 90 years old is not really successful or happy. He certainly is very miserable inside. But once you begin to overcome that illusion, tremendous power is released within you, and all great virtuous qualities will begin to unfold in your personality. So, with this, let us contemplate on the aspect of brahmacharya, or abiding in Brahman, meaning sexual restraint. The youth of today are constantly exposed to the charms of materialistic culture through TV, films, online social media apps, and all this easily available material. It is for this reason that the ideal of brahmacharya seems like such an impossibility for most people. Many even call it old fashioned. Brahmacharya refers to discipline of the amorous part of your personality, discipline in the realm of sex. Your mind should not become obsessed with sex. In these modern times, this topic needs to be discussed more and reflected upon with great sincerity. In this modern materialistic culture, it appears that to be more sensuous is to be more wonderful. If a boy or girl is always going out on dates, they are considered popular or fortunate. But that is not so in the Hindu culture, which considers such preoccupation with dating as a break in brahmacharya. This is so because your mind, which is supposed to be focused on studying your school lessons as well as the scriptures, is involved in fancies and the illusions of attachments. When you begin to date at a young age, fancies develop in your mind. You begin to admire people just for their looks and other superficial aspects of their personality. You may feel you have fallen in love when really you are not prepared for it. You know very little about love. When you become infatuated with the person you have dated and feel that he or she is the perfect person for you, what you should ask yourself is, what would happen to me if I were to live with that person for a long time, not just date him for a month or two? There are two ways you can seek the company of the opposite sex. One is on the plane of human friendship, and the other is when you're seeking a partner in a relationship. In the first case, you spend recreational time with others, you study with them. There is no harm in such human companionship, and it plays an important part in growing up. In the second case, when you are going out with the intention of seeking a partner, you should be careful. Be sure you know a great deal about the person before you get entangled, before you decide that you have found the way and the one you want to marry. Living in the West, a Hindu young man or woman has the opportunity to go out with American young men or women, and as a result, he can become seriously involved with that person. In such a situation, you must ask yourself what you want in your married life to be like. If there are good people everywhere and all religions take us to God, but we have to further contemplate on the deeper implications, such as, do you want your children to be brought up according to the Hindu culture or Christian culture or Jewish culture or no religious culture at all? You must think of the many implications of your relationship with that partner as time passes by. You must understand all the consequences and all the psychological adjustments you will have to make. So, as you can see, it's a profound topic, and we will continue this in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat.